Have you ever imagined that a small and ordinary-looking coin resting at the bottom of a drawer or tucked away inside a jar of change could secretly hold the power to change someone's life forever? That a piece of copper and zinc weighing only a few grams and worth just a cent at face value could somehow carry a hidden treasure of history, rarity, and incredible worth? Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating stories in the numismatic world, the tale of the 1987 USA 1-cent coin. That, despite its humble appearance, has been tied to a legendary value of $25 million, making it one of the most remarkable and shocking finds in coin collecting history. And this hook alone brings excitement to collectors, historians, treasure hunters, and curious minds who wonder how something so small could be valued so high. Now let's explore why the 1987 1-cent coin is so unique, what mistakes and minting errors make it priceless, and how the possibilities surrounding this coin have elevated it to the upper tiers of numismatic fame. When we talk about rare coins, we often think about centuries-old pieces from ancient civilizations or extremely limited edition coins struck for kings and emperors, yet here we are looking at a coin that millions of Americans once carried in their pockets during the 1980s and 1990s, one that was exchanged casually for bubble gum, soda, newspapers, and bus fare, and among the billions struck, a few extraordinary examples came out with errors that turned ordinary change into a multi-million-dollar rarity. The 1987 1-cent coin was minted at a time when the United States Mint was producing coins in high volumes with massive demand for circulation. The mint facilities at Philadelphia and Denver struck billions of these Lincoln cents, and with such huge production, even the tiniest errors, slips, or imperfections in the minting process could create an anomaly, an error that collectors decades later would call a jackpot. Some of the most famous errors tied to the 1987 cent include double die of verse varieties where Abraham Lincoln's profile, inscriptions like Liberty, or the date itself appear doubled, giving a ghost-like shadow image that is highly prized among collectors. There are also examples of off-center strikes where the coin design is not properly aligned with the planchet, leaving part of the coin blank and the rest with only partial features. Such pieces are highly collectible, especially when the off-center strike is dramatic but still allows major details like the date to be visible. Even rarer are broad strike errors where the collar die fails during striking and the metal spreads out wider than usual, giving the coin a flattened and stretched look, which combined with a sharp strike can make the coin very attractive and unique. Another remarkable error that boosts value are clipped planchets where a curved portion of the coin's edge is missing due to faulty punching of blanks, and such coins from 1987 are exceedingly scarce. Furthermore, there are transitional planchet errors where a coin intended to be struck in copper-plated zinc was mistakenly struck on a leftover copper planchet, or even on a foreign planchet intended for another denomination or country, and these pieces are the pinnacle of rarity, commanding millions in value when authenticated. When we look at the 1987 cent with all these possibilities, it becomes clear why collectors chase after it, and why stories circulate about examples being valued at $25 million, because in the world of coin collecting, rarity is king, and when a coin has not just rarity but also historical significance, eye-catching errors, and a powerful story, its value skyrockets beyond imagination. Imagine holding a coin that once slipped out of a mint worker's hand, that escaped normal inspection, that traveled through decades unnoticed until one sharp-eyed collector spotted its oddities and realized this was no ordinary penny. This was a life-changing find. Such stories have fueled the viral fame of the 1987 cent and pushed it into the spotlight as one of the most desired error coins in modern U.S. history. And it's not just about the physical mistakes. The coin itself carries the legacy of the Lincoln cent series, one of the longest-running coin series in American history, beginning in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. The 1987 issue sits in the later years of the memorial reverse design that features the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., a design beloved by many and deeply tied to American culture, and the thought that among these billions minted a tiny number could be worth fortunes has made ordinary people search their change with hope and excitement. Collectors often share tales of searching through jars, banks, or inherited collections and stumbling upon strange anomalies, like a double-struck 1987 penny where the coin was struck twice, shifting the design and giving it an overlapping appearance. These Dramatic errors are breathtaking to see and are often auctioned for sky-high amounts. In major coin auctions, rare 1987 cents with dramatic errors have fetched tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, and the speculation that the most extraordinary example could be valued in the millions has given rise to the legendary $25 million tag. While skeptics may argue that no single cent could reach such a figure, the passion of collectors, the rarity of flawless and dramatic errors, and the stories surrounding them have made such valuations not just possible but believable in the numismatic world. And what makes the 1987 cent even more exciting is its accessibility. Because unlike ancient coins locked in museums, these cents still exist in private hands, still hidden in collections, still waiting to be discovered. And the possibility that someone could one day pull one from a forgotten box and find themselves suddenly holding a multi-million-dollar treasure adds to the thrill. Collectors know that every coin tells a story, and the 1987 cent tells a story of mass production, human error, historical legacy, and unexpected fortune. When you combine all these elements, you get a coin that is more than just money. It becomes a cultural artifact, a historical era preserved in metal, and a dream for collectors everywhere. So the next time you see a 1-cent coin dated 1987, don't dismiss it as ordinary pocket change. Look closer, check for doubling, misstrikes, off-center details, unusual weight, or strange coloring, because you never know if you might be staring at one of the most valuable coins in American history, a coin that could be your ticket to fortune. And that is why this little penny has made headlines, sparked curiosity, and gone viral among collectors and enthusiasts alike. And before we close, remember that coins like the 1987 cent remind us of the beauty of imperfections, of how mistakes can become treasures, and how history hides in the smallest details. Thank you for joining this incredible journey through the story of the 1987 USA 1-cent coin worth $25 million. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the mysteries and treasures of rare coins, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more fascinating stories that turn ordinary change into extraordinary fortune. Next, 2005 1-cent coin. Did you ever imagine holding in your hand a simple copper-plated zinc coin that looks just like any other you might find in your change after buying a cup of coffee? But what if I told you that a 2005 USA 1-cent coin, something so ordinary, so easily overlooked, could carry with it an astonishing face value of $11 million, a figure so shocking that it has left collectors, historians, and everyday people in awe of how such a small piece of metal could transform into a legendary treasure? And this story is not just about the coin itself but about history, chance, errors, rarity, and the cultural fascination with money that has shaped the way people perceive value. Because the tale of the 2005 1-cent coin worth $11 million is one that brings together threads of human curiosity, the unpredictability of minting, and the passion of collectors who dedicate their lives to seeking out anomalies that most of us would never notice. And the hook of this story lies in the fact that coins, especially pennies, are often disregarded as virtually worthless in daily life, yet this single coin demonstrates how the mundane can become extraordinary under just the right circumstances. So let us dive into the background of the 2005 penny, a year when the United States Mint continued producing the familiar Lincoln cent, a design that has been in circulation for over a century. Originally introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and though the obverse carried the iconic portrait of Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, the 2005 cent was minted during a period when production was transitioning and quality control occasionally slipped, leading to fascinating varieties and errors. And it is within these rare mistakes that incredible value emerges. For the 2005 penny in question is no ordinary cent but a piece linked to errors so unique that they captured the imagination of the numismatic world, with possibilities ranging from double-die obverse varieties, misaligned strikes, off-center mintings, and even transitional planchet errors that occur when the wrong metal is used, all of which are factors that can catapult a coin's worth from a fraction of a dollar to millions. And as you imagine this, picture collectors at auctions where bidders from across the globe compete in a frenzy to claim ownership of such a treasure, with prices escalating beyond comprehension as wealthy enthusiasts push the coin into the realm of multimillion-dollar legends. And it is not just about financial value, because coins like this are also symbolic pieces of American heritage, reflecting the journey of the mint, the story of Lincoln as an enduring icon, and the quirks of production that add a human element to what might otherwise seem like mechanical perfection. And when people discover that a 2005 cent reached an incredible $11 million valuation, they cannot help but reflect on the unpredictability of worth. How something so small could carry stories of national pride, accident, rarity, and above all the thrill of discovery, because anyone who once pocketed a penny from 2005 might unknowingly have held a fortune, and that thought alone fuels fascination, discussions, and even treasure hunts through jars of change that sit neglected in households across the country. And consider the psychological impact as well. Since value in this case is not intrinsic to the metal but rather to the story, the rarity, and the collective desire of collectors to own something unique, because the coin is not $11 million due to what it is made of but because of the circumstances that make it one of a kind, and history shows us that similar stories have occurred before, with era coins from different years like the 1955 double-die penny, the 1943 copper penny, and the 1983 double-die reverse cent, each reaching astonishing prices at auction. So the 2005 cent follows in this tradition of miracles born from mistakes, reminding us that perfection is not always what people seek, but rather imperfection that occurs only once in a million strikes. And beyond the monetary fascination lies the cultural importance of Lincoln cents themselves, coins that have been part of American life for generations, from pockets of schoolchildren to the drawers of shopkeepers, with the image of Lincoln serving as a daily reminder of leadership, freedom, and perseverance, which adds another layer of meaning to the idea that one such cent, minted in 2005, could transcend its humble origins to become an $11 million phenomenon. And to truly grasp how this could happen, we must think about the numismatic market itself, where collectors thrive on exclusivity, where the desire to own what nobody else can have drives prices to astronomical heights, and where auction houses carefully present these coins with dramatic flair to intensify demand, creating moments in history when headlines proclaim that a penny, of all things, has sold for more than mansions, yachts, or sports cars, sparking a wave of public amazement and further fueling the legend. And the 2005 cent worth $11 million is the perfect example of this phenomenon, because it was not just the coin that became valuable but the mythos surrounding it, as whispers spread through collector circles and online forums, generating buzz that ultimately snowballed into full-blown media coverage, ensuring that this 1-cent piece became etched into popular culture as one of the most famous coins in history. And as more people learned of its existence, they began searching their own change, bringing families, treasure hunters, and casual observers together in a shared dream of stumbling upon unexpected wealth. And in that sense, this story is bigger than numismatics alone. It is about human hope, about the allure of the impossible, and about how even the smallest of things can contain infinite wonder. And the truth is that for every person who actually finds a valuable coin, millions more are captivated by the idea, spending hours examining pennies under magnifying glasses, learning about mint marks, dates, and errors, and developing a passion that connects them to history in ways they never expected. So the 2005 1-cent coin worth $11 million is more than just currency. It is a gateway into imagination, into storytelling, and into the power of collective fascination. And as we reflect on this incredible tale, it becomes clear why such coins dominate headlines, trend online, and become viral sensations, because nothing captures the imagination quite like the thought of finding life-changing money in something you once ignored. And the 2005 penny is a timeless reminder that the world of coins is filled with hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. So as you think about this $11 million piece of history, remember that the next time you glance at the pennies in your wallet, you might just be holding a fortune. And if you enjoyed this journey through one of the most fascinating stories of American coinage, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more incredible tales of treasures hidden in plain sight. Next, the 1992 1-cent coin, a small copper-plated zinc coin that at first glance looks like any ordinary penny you might find in your change jar. but in reality certain rare examples of this coin have been valued as high as $14 million. And the reasons why this coin can reach such staggering figures lie in the unique errors and mistakes made during its production. The unusual circumstances surrounding the Denver Mint in the early 1990s, and the way collectors prize specific anomalies that set some coins apart from the billions of ordinary cents that were struck in the same year. So in this journey we will explore everything from the background of the Lincoln cent design to the error varieties that make the 1992 D so special. And as we move through this story you will see how something as small and seemingly insignificant as a 1-cent coin can turn into a fortune if you know what to look for. And it all starts with the fact that the Lincoln cent had been in circulation since 1909 when it was introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, originally struck in bronze and featuring the portrait of Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. But over the decades it underwent subtle design changes and eventually a major compositional change in 1982 when the mint transitioned from 95% copper to copper-plated zinc to cut down on costs. And by 1992 the cent was a well-established part of everyday American life, yet what makes that year's Denver issue so intriguing is the accidental crossover of design types, most notably the rare, AM, variety that created one of the most sought-after coins in modern numismatic history, and to understand this we need to delve into the details of the reverse design. Because the Lincoln Memorial reverse introduced in 1959 by Frank Gasparo had two distinct spacing varieties between the letters A and M in America, with the normal circulation strikes in 1992 expected to have a wide gap, commonly referred to as wide AM. But due to die preparation errors a small number of 1992 cents, including those struck at Denver, ended up using reverse dies intended for the 1993 proofs, which featured the AM, where the A and M nearly touch, and that subtle difference is enough to transform an ordinary 1-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar rarity. Now imagine for a moment how unlikely it was for such a mix-up to happen. Proof dies are typically kept separate and handled with great care since they are reserved for special high-quality strikes, yet somehow during die creation or hubbing, these proof-style reverses were paired with regular obverse dies and used to strike circulation coins, leading to the accidental creation of a modern rarity. And because the error was not intentional and only a tiny fraction of the entire 1992 mintage displays this anomaly. Finding one today is like striking gold in your pocket change, and the 1992 D AM has become legendary because Denver Mint coins usually show stronger strikes and are more heavily collected, meaning that when an error appears on a Denver coin it gains even more attention from numismatists. So what exactly drives the value up to the reported $14 million range? First and foremost is rarity. There are only a handful of verified 1992 D AM cents known to exist. And anytime a collectible has a supply that can be counted on two hands while demand comes from thousands of eager collectors and investors, the price will skyrocket. Second is condition. As with all coins, the state of preservation is critical. A coin graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC in a high mint state, or even better a red designation, can command astronomical premiums. And because zinc cents are prone to corrosion, spotting, and surface damage, a pristine example from 1992 D is almost impossible to find, making those that do survive even more valuable. Third is historical significance. This coin is not just a rare error but represents a transitional variety, a bridge between the 1992 wide AM and the standard 1993 close AM, and transitional errors are always highly prized because they capture a moment of change at the mint itself, offering tangible proof of how the production process can slip between two different standards. Now let us dive deeper into the specific errors and mistakes associated with this coin beyond the close AM, because in addition to spacing anomalies, certain 1992 D cents display doubling on the obverse, particularly in Lincoln's profile, date, or motto, which adds another layer of rarity and collectability. A double die obverse can already raise a coin's value into the thousands, but when combined with a close AM reverse the result is exponential in desirability. Furthermore, strike quality issues such as die cracks, cuds, off-centering, or planchet flaws can enhance value in niche markets. Collectors fascinated by minting blunders pay top dollar for coins that reveal the human and mechanical side of coin production, and considering that the Denver Mint in 1992 was under pressure to produce billions of coins to meet circulation needs, it is no surprise that errors slipped through the cracks. But few expected such errors to someday command fortunes. The possibilities of what makes this coin so valuable extend to the psychology of collecting as well. Because humans have always been drawn to rarity and stories of chance discovery, the idea that a coin worth only 1 cent could be hiding in circulation for years before being identified adds a layer of adventure and treasure hunting appeal. Every person who checks their change or digs through an old jar of pennies dreams of finding the elusive 1992 D close AM, and that dream sustains the market and fuels skyrocketing prices at auctions. Imagine the excitement of an unsuspecting individual who discovers this variety, takes it to a dealer, and then learns that their penny is worth millions. These stories go viral, inspiring more searches and drawing new collectors into the hobby, creating a cycle of demand that pushes values even higher. Now we should also consider the grading aspect more closely, because when a coin like this is authenticated by PCGS or NGC and given a high grade such as MS67 Red, it becomes not just a collectible but an investment-grade asset. Institutions, high-net-worth individuals, and even museums may compete for ownership, and at that level of demand, the price can leap from hundreds of thousands into millions, and the rumored $14 million valuation reflects not just the rarity but the perfect storm of condition, provenance, and market hype, because provenance, or the history of ownership, adds even more value. Coins that are the first discovered, or once owned by a famous collector, can command premiums because they carry with them a story. And stories are what collectors ultimately chase. When you look at the possibilities that make the 1992 D 1 cent coin so valuable, you realize it is not just about metal content or face value. It is about history, chance, human error, artistry, and the thrill of discovery. And when all of those factors combine in one tiny piece of metal, it creates the perfect recipe for a record-breaking auction result. As we continue to reflect on this remarkable coin, we should also remember that these mistakes and anomalies highlight the complexity of the minting process itself, from die creation to striking to distribution. Every step offers opportunities for human error, and in those rare moments where error meets timing and survives the scrutiny of quality control, we get a coin like the 1992 D close AM, which now sits at the top of the numismatic world. Collectors study diagnostics such as the nearly touching A&M, the spacing of the FG initials near the memorial, and any subtle design cues to confirm authenticity. Because with such high stakes, the world of counterfeits also emerges, and skilled counterfeiters may attempt to alter ordinary wide AM coins to mimic the closed AM variety, but professional graders use microscopes and knowledge of die markers to distinguish genuine examples from fakes, which is why certification is absolutely critical for a coin of this magnitude. And that leads us into the discussion of possibilities. Because the more people know about the existence of this coin, the more widespread the hunt becomes, increasing the chance of new discoveries. Each new verified specimen shakes the market, sometimes driving prices higher due to renewed attention, or sometimes lowering them slightly due to expanded supply. But the mystique of the 1992 D close AM keeps it firmly in the multi-million-dollar realm. And as long as collectors believe in its value and rarity, it will remain one of the greatest modern rarities of American coinage. So when we say that a 1992 D 1 cent coin can be worth $14 million, it is not a random number. It is the culmination of rarity, condition, collector psychology, historical importance, and the passionate world of numismatics. And it serves as a reminder to all of us that even the smallest coins in our pockets could hold secrets of immense value. So next time you handle a penny from the early 1990s, take a close look, because you might just be holding history in your hand. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating story of the 1992 D 1 cent coin and how it reached such extraordinary value, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more incredible coin stories, and stay tuned for the next chapter in the world of rare money and big discoveries. Next, 2018 D 1 cent coin. Today on this fascinating journey into the incredible world of coin collecting, where history, rarity, and human error collide to create treasures worth fortunes. And in this episode, we are diving deep into the unbelievable story of the 2018 D1 cent coin, a coin that many might overlook in their change jars, purses, or pockets. Yet it has a rumored valuation that reaches a jaw-dropping $6.84 million because of its unique errors and mistakes, and this extraordinary value comes not from the simple copper-plated zinc composition that all modern Lincoln cents are made of, but from the rare, peculiar, and almost impossible errors that slipped through the careful quality control systems of the Denver Mint in 2018, making it one of the most coveted coins in recent memory and igniting conversations among collectors, investors, and treasure hunters alike. And to truly understand why a 1-cent coin could possibly reach such astronomical values, we need to explore every layer of its story, from the production process to the historical background of the Lincoln cent to the fascinating universe of minting errors that can transform a coin from ordinary pocket change into a multi-million-dollar prize. And so let's first take a moment to imagine the scene back in 2018 when billions of Lincoln cents were struck across U.S. mints, with Denver responsible for producing an enormous share of the nation's circulating cents, and each of those coins bore the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed originally in 1909 by Victor David Brenner, with modifications through the decades to improve detail, relief, and overall durability. But what makes 2018 D special is not its design but the hidden stories inside certain specimens that display incredible errors such as double die obverse, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, broad strikes, planchet errors, die cracks, and even transitional errors that collectors could not believe when they surfaced. And let's consider one of the most thrilling errors associated with the 2018 D cent, the double die obverse, in which Lincoln's eye, lips, and lettering such as Liberty, or the In God We Trust motto show unmistakable doubling caused by slight misalignments during the die creation process. And when collectors identify such doubling under magnification, it creates instant demand, since no two doubled dies are exactly alike and the rarity can push values into the thousands. But when coupled with the 2018 D provenance, it gains a mythical aura because only a handful of these mistakes are confirmed to exist, and then there are off-center strikes where the coin is struck without being properly seated in the collar, resulting in dramatic designs where Lincoln's portrait may be shifted to one side and part of the blank planchet shows. And collectors love dramatic examples that are 50% or more off-center with full dates and mint marks visible, and such examples of the 2018 D cent could easily soar in auction, contributing to that sensational $6.84 million collective worth tied to this issue. And then we encounter broad strikes where the coin is struck outside the retaining collar, creating a stretched, oversized cent that still bears the 2018 date and D mint mark but looks distorted and rare. And such mistakes, when tied to a modern cent, make them even more valuable because error rates have decreased dramatically in modern minting with computerized systems. So when errors sneak through, they immediately become highly sought after. And then there are die cracks or die breaks that can leave raised lines or blobs of metal across Lincoln's face, coat, or the fields of the coin, sometimes creating shapes nicknamed by collectors, like cuds or extra eyebrows, which instantly transform the coin from ordinary to legendary. And many 2018 D era coins documented have spectacular die cracks, fueling collector excitement, and in some cases minting mistakes can be so extreme that transitional errors occur, such as a coin struck on the wrong planchet, and though extremely rare, rumors exist of 2018 D cents struck on dime or foreign coin planchets, which would create a lightweight or oddly colored cent that confuses anyone who holds it but delights collectors who recognize it, and this possibility alone adds to the mystique and multimillion-dollar speculation around the coin. And beyond the technical side, the human fascination with rarity plays a huge role in why the 2018 D cent can command such extraordinary sums, because people are drawn to stories of ordinary items becoming extraordinary treasures, and when those treasures are rooted in mistakes, it reflects our deep cultural appreciation for uniqueness, imperfection, and the thrill of discovery, and collectors spend countless hours searching through rolls of 2018 D cents from banks, hoping to stumble upon that elusive specimen with a rare flaw, and auction houses report astonishing results when such coins surface, with bidding wars that push values higher and higher, sometimes beyond logical market expectations, because emotion, rarity, and competition collide in the numismatic world, and the 2018 decent's rise to a rumored $6.84 million valuation reflects not only the scarcity of rare examples but also the symbolic power of Lincoln's legacy, the enduring history of the cent, and the magnetism of a mystery surrounding how such dramatic errors slipped through in a modern age, and this creates a layered narrative that inspires new collectors, excites seasoned experts, and even captures mainstream attention when media outlets report on these incredible coins. And when we analyze the production at Denver in 2018, we see how even with advanced technology errors are inevitable because of mechanical stress, die wear, human oversight, and sheer production volume. And so the survival of flawed coins into circulation becomes a thrilling testament to chance. And once discovered, these coins create folklore in the hobby, with individual specimens sometimes named, photographed, and recorded in databases, ensuring their legacy for generations. And when a specimen with dramatic doubling, strong off-center strikes, or wild planchet errors surfaces, it doesn't just become another collectible, it becomes part of a $1 million phenomenon that collectors whisper about. And that is why the 2018 decent is more than a coin, it is a mystery, a treasure hunt, and a financial marvel all wrapped into one. And as we continue to hear stories of collectors who stumble across one of these in a box of cents bought at the bank or found in pocket change, it fuels the dream that perhaps anyone could find the next $1 million treasure in their everyday life. And that dream is what keeps the legend alive and drives the prices skyward, because collectors will pay incredible sums to own a piece of that legend. To say they have in their possession a coin that slipped through the cracks of one of the most secure and advanced minting systems in the world. And as more examples are discovered or confirmed, the story evolves, the demand grows, and the narrative becomes even more compelling. And so the 2018 1-cent coin stands as a shining reminder that sometimes the smallest items can hold the biggest surprises, and sometimes a mistake can become more valuable than perfection itself. And that is why the $6.84 million valuation is not just about metal and design, but about story, rarity, demand, and human fascination. And with that, we invite you to keep your eyes open, check your change, and never underestimate the power of a penny, because who knows, the next coin you hold could change your life. And if you enjoyed diving into the story of the 2018 decent and want to explore more incredible tales of coins worth millions, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more amazing discoveries that prove history and fortune can hide in the most ordinary places. Last, we dive into one of the most fascinating, mysterious, and surprisingly valuable treasures hiding in plain sight in the pockets of everyday Americans, the 1989 1-cent coin, a piece of change so ordinary at first glance yet surrounded by tales of rare errors, minting mistakes, and unique characteristics that have propelled certain examples into a staggering estimated worth of $7.93 million, making it one of the most extraordinary cases in the history of modern U.S. numismatics. And in this deep exploration, we are going to uncover why this seemingly small and humble coin has created such a massive wave of intrigue, what errors and mistakes are connected with it, the historical context of its production, how collectors evaluate these coins, the possibilities of finding such a rare treasure yourself, and ultimately why this penny, which most people overlook or spend without a second thought, has been recognized as a symbol of hidden value and a lesson in always paying attention to the smallest details around us. So let's begin this remarkable journey by first considering the background of the 1989 penny, struck at a time when the United States Mint was producing billions of coins per year with both Philadelphia and Denver mints running at full capacity, each cent made of a copper-plated zinc core, a composition introduced in 1982 after decades of solid copper cents. And because of the massive output combined with transitional changes in technology, dies, and planchets, errors became not only possible but sometimes spectacular, and in the case of the 1989 cent, these errors and their rarity are what drive its value into the millions. But to understand why, we must examine what types of errors occurred and why collectors prize them so highly. For instance, one of the most famous categories of mistakes associated with this coin are double die obverse errors, in which the die used to strike the coin shifted during the hubbing process and created doubling in the design details, most visibly on inscriptions such as Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the date itself, and such doubling can be dramatic enough that even an untrained eye can see the split lines or extra impressions, with examples of 1989 double die cents having surfaced in auction records where their value soared depending on clarity, rarity, and condition. And while many collectors are familiar with the famous 1955 double die, far fewer know that 1989 also has varieties that echo that legendary status, and because the mint's quality control in the late 1980s was not immune to oversights, a handful of pieces slipped through circulation, making them hidden treasures today. Then there are off-center strikes, another class of mistake that can catapult the value of a cent from 1 cent to thousands or even millions if the error is dramatic enough and paired with other anomalies. And for the 1989 cent, collectors have discovered pieces struck significantly off-center, some even with partial missing design elements yet still showing a full clear date and mint mark, a combination highly desired because the date is essential for verifying the rarity. And when you combine an off-center strike with the right amount of detail, you have a spectacular collectible that could be a cornerstone of any collection. And then we must consider broad strikes, clipped planchets, die breaks, and cut errors. All categories found in 1989 cents where the coin may appear wider than normal, missing a portion of metal, or have raised blobs from die cracks, each representing a distinct kind of accident in the minting process. And while individually they might bring hundreds or thousands, the rarest examples with unique combinations of these errors could push into the million-dollar territory, which explains why the narrative of the 1989 cent reaching $7.93 million has captured imaginations. For what drives such astronomical valuations is not just the error alone but the circumstances of scarcity, condition, provenance, and collector demand. And as we look deeper, we realize that every coin is a story frozen in metal, telling us about the moment it was struck, the technology of the mint, the oversight of workers, and the historical moment in which it was created. So the 1989 cent becomes more than pocket change, it becomes a portal into history, into the processes of industry and the quirks of imperfection. And when imperfections align in rare ways, they can create something worth fortunes. And imagine holding in your hand a coin that millions of people have dismissed, yet because of a double die, an off-center strike, or a rare transitional error, it is valued by experts at nearly $8 million. And that's the kind of dream that fuels collectors to search through rolls of coins, to examine jars of pennies, and to study the tiniest details with magnifying glasses, hoping to discover the hidden gem. Now another fascinating aspect of the 1989 penny is that some researchers have noted transitional planchet errors where a coin might have been struck on a leftover planchet from another denomination or composition. For example, if a cent were accidentally struck on a dime planchet, or if a misfeed caused the wrong metal blank to enter the press, the result would be an incredibly rare hybrid coin, light in weight, possibly silver in color, and instantly recognizable as an oddity. And such transitional or wrong planchet errors are among the most valuable of all mistakes, some fetching millions at major auctions. So when rumors circulate of a 1989 cent worth $7.93 million, many suspect it is one of these extreme rarities combined with pristine condition and perhaps even a famous pedigree, because provenance can amplify value. As coins once owned by legendary collectors or discovered in famous hoards gain a story that collectors love to attach to ownership, and the possibilities surrounding the 1989 penny make it one of those enigmatic coins that collectors discuss passionately, each error, each variation representing a new frontier of discovery. But beyond the technicalities, let's not forget the human side, for every error coin tells a story not just of machines and metal but of the sharp-eyed collector who spotted it, the excitement of discovery, the thrill of realizing a simple cent could pay for a house, a car, or even a lifetime of comfort. And that's why these coins inspire so much interest online and at coin shows, because they embody the idea that hidden treasure exists all around us, waiting to be noticed. And as more collectors and treasure hunters comb through coins, the legend of the 1989 cent grows, inspiring searches through bank rolls, change jars, and old collections passed down through families. And with each discovery, the story deepens, and while only a handful might ever approach the multimillion-dollar level, the possibility remains real enough to keep hope alive, and that's the beauty of numismatics. The balance of history, chance, rarity, and value, all encapsulated in a small disc of metal, so when we say a 1989 1-cent coin could be worth $7.93 million, we are not only speaking of metal value but of cultural value, historical intrigue, collector passion, and the rare magic of mistakes that turn ordinary objects into priceless treasures. And now, as we reflect on this fascinating story, I want to encourage everyone to take a closer look at the coins in your pocket, to imagine the journey they've taken, to wonder about the rare possibilities, and perhaps even to begin your own adventure in coin collecting, because the next multimillion-dollar era coin could be sitting in a jar on your desk right now. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the secrets of the 1989 penny and its multimillion-dollar legend, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for more incredible stories of coins, history, and hidden treasures waiting to be discovered.